that to lay their people off. In Ohio, there was a mandatory 60-day grace period that insurance companies had to give those employers who had just suspended premiums.
Wow.
So we've seen some employers take advantage of that. When that happens, however, think about the downhill snowballing effect. First of all, we don't get paid fees and commissions. But secondly, and probably more importantly, is providers don't get paid. If premiums don't get paid, claims are delayed, so the hospitals, doctors, what have you, for those plans don't get paid. So we're seeing some employers take advantage of that. We're just really right on the front end of what do we do. We're having a lot of questions concerning that. We're hoping it ramps back up more quickly. We know there's several employers this past week had a pretty significant layoff and furlough, and that's both on both sides of the river. So it's the conversation is getting everything reopened, and that's obviously what has to happen. The lag from a business and economic perspective, we're going to see locally, we think will be significant with regards to employment.
On that point, if a small business, say you say there's a 60-day grace period in there?
In Ohio, West Virginia, West Virginia very quickly says carriers work with the employers. So Highmark is, the carriers will have individual discussions, we're involved in those, but yes, there's some grace period.
Okay, let's go to Ohio because it's the 60 days.
Yeah.
After 60 days, is that insurance drop?
It does, unless you make your premium payment in full for the previous, the 90 days, right?
So now you got a 90-day bill instead
So that's
of
the
a
problem
30-day
too.
bill.
So what we probably will see is announcements from the Department of Insurance, and more so on both sides of the river, whether it's Ohio and West Virginia, to allow employers more time in order to pay those.
Divide that nut by 12.
Yeah.
And add it to your monthly. But that's the question. I think, Jimmy, you were right. We get to a point, you maybe get your mortgage or whatever to delay payment.
Right.
But then in 90 days or 120, they want all that money up. They don't want to readjust your mortgage to take those 90 days worth of no money.
See, on a mortgage, they'll put it on the end. I mean, they'll extend it for, say 3 months, but it brings the extension of the loan.
Right. So if your payoff
with
was
hospitals, I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah.
Because every year, the fear level at the county, we're worried about income.
Sure.
And our income comes through property tax. So how many people will not pay and let their property go to sale?
Or will pay way later than they would have before.
And then the next issue is our assessor decides that property is not worth what it was pre-COVID. So a $100,000 house is now only worth 80. So now do we see a drop in the taxable property base?
Sure.
The cities, 1% sales tax, user fee, that's going to dry up much quicker. The contraction will happen.
Sure.
We won't see that necessarily. We may see a lag.
I'll tell you from what you just said, the user fee like we charge, I mean, they're going to be hurting from not our amount, but the fact that it's happened to us, it's going to happen to everybody else too.
Well,
so they're going to be hurting.
I'm blessed that I am not involved in municipal government, but I would be scheduling a 30% reduction immediately, easily, if not greater. So the city of Vienna, that relies heavily on the 1% sales tax, they took their budget from $5.5 million a year to $10 million.
Let's go from there to Marty in Williamstown. The biggest boom Williamstown ever had, in my opinion, was that when you got that 1%, because you were allowed to strengthen your police department and get a lot of stuff done.
We were allowed to tread water. We were in trouble before we got to 1%. We couldn't manage the government based on the funds we had.
Well, you, as the largest per capita gambling machines in the state of West Virginia, that did not result in revenue.
Not much.
And we get some, not much. But revenue's gone for 2 months.
That's gone, hotel motel's gone, 1%'s gone, way down, you know, so that's just something you have to
Municipalities.
count for and you have to keep your eye on and be awake.
Yeah, I think, we're blessed that we have elected officials keeping eye on things for us, and there's only 3 of us. So if we get mad at each other, we only have to get one other guy to do something. But can you imagine having to go to a city council and say, we're cutting our budget 30%? Maybe we'll be okay if we do that.
But, you know, you have a wonderful point there, you really do. But the secret in a city, if you have people like Mr. Schwindel here who knows the facts and can present the facts, and people like Marty who can break down things so we can understand it too. It's much easier to present your problems to people.
Sure.
I mean, you just
Well,
can't say
we're
boom, it's gonna
very
happen.
good that facts don't care about your feelings. And so we've had the tough discussions in the past where we had rates increase. Marty, I think the biggest rate increase we saw was somewhere around the 12% range. But we've done so many things.
I've seen an 18.
Yeah, 18, 12,
Yeah, that was a gut punch.
I don't think, and it's a hats off to the employees, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are driving the ship, because it's totally based on dollars, is it not, Mark? And you know, to have gone 0, -5, -9, and then finally a 4.9. When they had the meetings about the merit memorial contracts, I'm sitting in the room and I'm listening to all these people talk about the rate increases they got, and I just sat there and was quiet, because this is an anomaly, and
I would
even
agree.
4.9 is an anomaly.
Oh, it is. Well,
I mean,
we
we're
stated it's half of the trend increases.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to employees, because I think they're being responsible with their prescriptions, with their services, and they're reaping the benefit because they're not hitting higher costs, neither is the commission.
Of course, Marty shared all this information as the things were going on, which was wonderful. But when it got closer to the end of January, I know if you're on the Marietta Memorial, if you go over there, you're ready to look for new doctors. I don't know how you find new doctors. I mean,
I'll just comment on this, and I won't get us off on a tangent. Our staff spent probably 6 weeks locating the majority of the folks in the Mid Ohio Valley run Blue Cross Blue Shield plans. So putting together alternative for provider offerings outside of Marietta Memorial Health System. We had discussions with WVU Medicine. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes. We were glad on January 27th, with the expiration date already being delayed and extended to January 31st from December 31st, that they came to terms and signed the agreement.
Well, we know that based on the cessation of elective surgeries, and I think that's a broad term when it says it's elective, it may have been medically necessary, but not in the immediacy of it. So elective could be a knee surgery, something we can delay a couple months. Our hospitals are suffering. Marietta Memorial's cash flow has to be troubling. WVU Health Systems, which Camden's a part of, has to be suffering. And there's a lot of things happening, I believe, that we did a good job in flattening the curve. We may see the curve come back, but we can't let our hospitals drown. So,
to your point, Commissioner Couch, my wife is a surgical nurse, and she's on average, now this past week she worked more, but she works 3 days on 1 week, 2 days on the next week. Has worked on average 1 partial day per week for the last 6 weeks. To your point.
it's,
pain gets personal then.
Yes, it does.
we go down the path, there's a lot of candidates that are running for high office that want to see socialized medicine. And when it gets really brought home, my wife works for Camden, I say, we really want to see all the employees from Blue Cross Blue Shield let go, because that's what happens. If you have a one payer system, no health insurance, then 400 people that work up on Market Street are no longer working.
Let me also add to that, I know I'm kind of off on a tangent, but
Might as well.
first of all, not only are they not working, the health systems have to change dramatically. 70 cents out of every dollar at area more health systems, Medicare and Medicaid, public money, 30% is commercial, probably very similar to WVU Medicaid. Matter of fact, I think it's worse. Matter of fact, I know it's worse. And conversations with some folks at Cannon Park a year and a half ago, that number approaches 80%. Medicare and Medicaid do not pay their fair share, so consequently there's a cost shift to all of us that have commercial insurance. You take away the cost shift in commercial insurance, it makes up the margin, it makes the hospitals and facilities at least break even. Then the cost of healthcare on the public sector has to come up dramatically, and we will have less choice in regards to it. So simply put, especially in rural areas, a Medicare for all or something like that just does not work.
Are we looking for rate approval today?
Well, yeah, I think what we're looking for is rate approved. First of all, to award it to Highmark at the rates presented, and then also to institute the 4-tier rate structure and pass it on to the employees, including the increase on a single plan from $30 a month to $40 a month. All right.
Correct.
Let me go ahead and make that motion. I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Make it unanimous.
Thank you. I'm going to continue, if it's okay then, to try to wrap this up in about 10 minutes at the most. Page 4, at the very top, health reimbursement arrangement and flexible spending account arrangement for account administration, HRA and FSA. Currently, the HRA and the FSA are administered by WesBanco. There's a fee associated with that. The HRA fee is $5.25 per employee per month. The FSA is $3 per employee per month. On average, you have 172 employees on the plan for the HRA, because everyone that's in the health insurance as an employee would also have the HRA account. You had 61 participating employees on average on the flexible spending account. So the annual fees associated with that participation are $10,836. You can see in the chart for the HRA, $21.96 for the FSA, for a total of $13,032. Highmark, since the health insurance is with Highmark, has offered to administer those two accounts with no charge. So if you move the administration of each of those two plans to Highmark, a couple of things happen. Your monthly fees associated with WesBanco will be eliminated. However, there would be what we call a run out from any claims that were incurred through in June. You want to keep WesBanco on the administration for those claims, probably for the 3-month run out period, July, August, September. So our anticipation is if you move the account administration, you'd save about 3/4 of that $13,000 in the first year, and second year you'd save the full amount.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
If we move the HRA to them, would it be, do you think it would assist any in some of the confusion that's out there regarding the amount of deductibles?
Among the providers?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what happens today is someone goes to Cannon Park for an outpatient service, let's say. The clerk, the person at Cannon Park, looks up based on the insurance card, sees that employee works at Wood County, has Blue Cross, however, has a $4,000 deductible. That's what the health insurance plan has. Doesn't necessarily see that there's the WesBanco HRA, administered HRA. So the confusion is, what is the insurance benefit? If everything's encapsulated into one provider, or one administrator, which would be Highmark, as Marty indicated, there would be less confusion. Still may have some, but less confusion. Plus, the employee now can look at every one of their accounts in the Highmark portal for them. They can look at their deductible levels, how much they've satisfied with the insurance. They can look at their flexible spending account, how much money's left over, and they can look at the HRA to see what's been paid out under the HRA. So we just think overall, the administration would work smoother. This same offer was on the table last year. However, we didn't suggest that you pull the trigger last year because all the bugs had not quite yet been worked out of the Highmark administration system. We've met with Highmark. Actually, Highmark came in to meet with Marty and us as well. And we feel that the bugs have been worked out from an administrative standpoint. And the reporting to us will be significant enough that we can do our job for you as well with monitoring the HRA. So we think it makes sense to make that move at this point. So anything to add to that, Marty? Or
No, they're gonna do that, you're gonna have to make a motion that we do that.
Second.
There's 2 plan benefits.
They're waived on, he's on.
The other thing we just comment on, okay. The other thing we just comment on, and we toss that out there, if there's some savings generated there, if you wanted to, however you want to use that savings, it could be utilized a bit to reduce some of the employee contributions if you want to do that. We just toss that out there as a comment in our summary. Dental insurance, no need for rate increase this year. The rates that we proposed last year at $26.72 and $72.95. Your dental self-funded, as it should be. That was one of the first things you did after we came on board roughly 13 years ago. Your premiums now for dental are less than what they are when we first came on board. The fully insured dental is at your size employer group.
Does that mean all the problems were fixed early?
That's right. So the fully insured dental, moving to self-funded just made sense. You don't have much exposure on self-funding for dental. Your current funding level at the participants now is $110,885, give or take. Your claims administrative costs this past year were $102,000. We priced that to just break even or create a little bit of a reserve. The admin fees are going up from $576 to $621 with Renaissance. Those are still competitive in the marketplace. So simply put, we suggest renewing the dental with the same fee structure as you currently have without an increase. Any questions there? No. Hearing none. Vision insurance, your vision service plan doesn't actually renew until September 1. Obviously, then no rating, September 1, 2021. You've got a 2-year rate guarantee with them. Your total vision premium is about $43,000 a year in total for all employees. Very $793 a single, $2712 a family. Vision plan, we don't hear any complaints to speak of. It'll never pay for the full cost of glasses. That's not the intent. The intention is to make sure people are getting their preventive eye care done with exams, and pays a good portion of glasses. It depends on what extra things people have added, designer frames, special coatings, those types of things. I don't know if there's any action needed on any of this. Okay. The employee assistance program. This is something that, since you have Mutual of Omaha now for your life insurance, you put in the voluntary short-term disability last year, which, by the way, there's very strong uptake on that. I think 94 employees actually signed up for the voluntary short-term disability if they're off of work. The county also put in an employer-sponsored long-term disability plan that costs around $19,000, but that was very well received as well. We upped the offer for voluntary life insurance, and you actually had 138 employees purchase additional life insurance. Because what's happened over the years is agents like us are not calling on people at home typically. So the only offer that people have a lot of times to purchase additional life insurance is what's offered to their employer. So out of roughly, 200 employees, Marty, maybe? Yeah. 138 purchased additional insurance for a total volume of $8,829,000.
Presented very cleanly too.
Yeah.
You don't have to interact. There's the figure if you want to take it.
Sign up if you want to take it. That's right. So almost $9 million of life insurance was purchased by your employees because you all provided that offer to them. So that's significant when it comes to protecting families. The reason I mentioned all that in front of the EAP is with that volume of Mutual of Omaha, the premium volume coming in. Mutual of Omaha is offering, back on page 5 at the top, an employee assistance program that can be added for your employees. The employee assistance program is completely confidential. If an employee or dependent has concerns, financial concerns, mental health concerns, could be drug concerns with a dependent, they can actually have a telephonic visit with a licensed clinician, or actually have a face-to-face visit with a licensed clinician as well. Usually Omaha is willing to add that for a total charge of 30 cents per employee per month, because of the other volumes of premium that you have going there. Total annual estimated cost for Wood County, annual cost is $700 to provide that.
Question on the insurance, is that term or life
It
term?
is term. We don't suggest that people go out and get rid of anything they purchased, Mr. TV, on a permanent life insurance basis. It's just that it's to add to that supplement. So we're seeing a lot of a good portion of our employers have employee assistance programs, especially with everything that's going on right now. We've seen a pretty significant uptick in the utilization of employee assistance programs. This is a way that you could add that program if you want, very, very nominal cost, and we find it to be a good benefit that employees are using quite a bit of.
We need to vote on
Motion to approve.
that. Second.
I'm in.
Okay. We will, at this year's open enrollment, we'll have information, we'll put that out here to employees to let them know that this is here. That's an extremely good move. That's a nice move for participants. Gentlemen, I believe that's it. There's, I went over the life insurance, disability. When we look at, let me sum up if I could. When we stand back as independent consultants and look at the benefit design programs that you've been able to put in place over the years here, starting with health insurance, to your life insurance, to your disability insurance, now with the EAP, the Employee Assistance Program, you have an excellent suite of benefits for your plan participants. And I've got to tell you, it's for the health insurance specifically, out-of-pockets are low, which is a good thing for employees as compared to other employer plans that are out there. And contributions are very, very competitive. Matter of fact, I would be hard to find another employer plan that has a total monthly employee contribution of $40 per month out there. So I want to commend you on that. You've done an extremely good job and been able to add some of these benefits and rounded out that package in the last few years. We appreciate the opportunity to work with the commission as well. We enjoy the relationship. Hard to believe it's been 13 years, but it's good news on behalf of our
Did
staff.
Marty have hair back then?
That's me.
I'm sorry.
Before Marty.
Yeah. No, he came with me.
Huh?
I was here when we brought him
Yeah, me too.
in. Blair and I went and met Larry Stein on Wood County, or Washington County, and then he's going to turn us on.
Larry Stile passed away, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And his wife?
Still living.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, Larry did pass. Goodness, it's been,
Yeah,
I would say
Marty's,
2 years.
Yeah, a couple.
yeah, I never really, I found out late.
Yeah.
And your, 2 sitting commissioners, got unseated,
Resoundingly so.
feathers and white.
Yes.
And was that over the sewer line issue, you think, or is it just a culmination of things?
I would have to think that played into it, Commissioner Couch. Personal opinion, culmination. And I gotta tell you, the other 2 gentlemen ran aggressive, based where they could be out in the public, talking to people. They were out talking to people. Good down to earth folks. So,
I think that probably added to their, I feel that's what did that. I mean, just can't take it for granted. You know? Not that they did, but
Well,
I
Bob's
believe
not.
that.
Bob's out there putting signs up, making sure he's around.
you're right, you have to have the interaction and the relationship, right? And I'm not saying those 2 gentlemen didn't. I know both of them. I don't know them extremely well. I don't know the new candidates extremely well. I know both of them. But that was a noticeable factor to Steve.
Yeah, over on this side, we, other than Bob's race, we have every county elected running unopposed.
Okay.
And as I told my wife, wow, she goes, those jobs suck so bad nobody else wants them.
Point well taken, perhaps.
Don't live that.
We just have paperwork to sign, I think, going forward, so we'll wrap up our Facebook Live meeting. We have no other presentations. We just have signature work.
Do we have any indication that there'll be a mass attempt to do any more testing? And if so, our site out on Dudley Avenue might be a good location for that.
Could be. Right now, that's a question mark. If you want testing, you can go to a Quick Care or MedExpress and they will get you a test. If you want to test through WVU Health System, Camden Clark, you have to be referred by your own attending physician or a physician through a telehealth conference primarily, although some doctors are seeing patients. There's still a lag time in regards to MedExpress, Quick Care, but the lag time is diminishing quickly.
Mark, thank you for what you did.
Thank you so much, appreciate that, that means a lot.
I know our health department, we do have on the agenda to discuss the governor's COVID-19 grant. The health department has sent a request for emergency funding with a $50,000 request. I would suggest we use the other $50,000 to buy PPE so that we can distribute to frontline people. Not necessarily just our first responders, but to those that are working the front line at Kroger's or Foodland that don't have access to it. So the Safer at Home designation said we would suggest people wear face coverings. They couldn't make it mandatory because there aren't face coverings everywhere to be had. So create the county stockpile. I know the mayors have all wanted to participate in this, and if we create a stockpile that can go to a city municipal worker, or if somebody has to keep their job at the gas station and they can't find anything, that we should be a resource to those frontline people, the essential workers. You know, all these people claim to be essential and they're making minimum wage. So that would be my recommendation, and I would make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second your motion, Mayor.
I'm on.
Awesome. All right, let's close off the Facebook meeting and hang up the conference call. Anything from anybody on the call? Would you have a question or a
What
discussion?
time is the governor's?
12:30.
12:30.